What's going on, you guys? This is G.F.E, God, Family, and Everything Else podcast. And today is Friday, so beginning of the weekend. I am super excited because it's actually my favorite time of the day, of the week, sorry. But yeah, today I just wanted to kind of do a little off the bat kind of fun one for you guys to kind of understand and know who I am. So I wanted to share with you some of my likes and some of my dislikes and just make it fun. And yeah, just let's just go ahead and get this weekend started off right. But yeah, and then if you can, go ahead and comment down below and tell me what you think. Like, what do you like? What you don't like? Just make it simple, make it fun, make it interesting, and then let's just have an awesome conversation. Uh, but yeah, Friday in about 30 minutes, go pick up my little guy from school. Gonna go probably to the park a little bit, go hang out, and then come back home. And usually Fridays are like family pizza night. But tomorrow, my oldest son Kai, he is having like a team, like an end of the year kind of like party. Um, Pretty much at like I believe it's like an Italian restaurant or whatnot. They're gonna have pizza there. So tonight, no pizza. So no pizza 2 nights in a row. So we're just gonna go ahead and figure out what to eat tonight. If it were up to me, it'd be sushi, but I can't choose. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started and let's do some random conversation. But here we go. Like, we have like, what's your favorite TV show? I would say for me, growing up, I really enjoyed. How many of you guys seen Family Matters? With Urkel and what was it? Family Matters, Tool Time, or I think it was called that. Family Matters, Tool Time. Pretty much just anything that was showing on TGIF at that time, back in the mid to late 90s, even the early 90s, to be honest. Those were some times where the TV shows were actually pretty good. They were clean, they were fun jokes, something that a family can just sit around and watch. It was really cool. So anything from TGIF I enjoyed watching, and see if you guys actually remember that. That's where when Fridays for me were a lot of fun. When Fridays hit, when you're in school, I would actually my dad would go to Papa Murphy's, or we even go to Louis Pizza. Grab pizza. We also go to the store, Albertsons. How many of you guys remember Albertsons? If not, it's probably just a Midwest type store. Uh, Grab ice cream and spend the entire Friday night just sitting at home watching some TGIF shows, watching either a movie, eating pizza. Man, I remember those times because those were some good times. Some Something to always sit back and just remember how fun it was back then as a kid. You didn't have anything to worry about, not really a care in the world. I mean, your only care was just getting the right ice cream and sitting down and watching your favorite TV shows. That was it. But yeah, that was my favorite thing to watch. Uh, but when it comes to movies, I'll say movies I really enjoy. I like comedy, I like action, I like suspense, and I also like scary, not horror, not like bloody killing things like that. It was more so just like a suspense type of horror where it makes you think. Um, and then also some paranormal stuff, you know. I would always watch it when I was a kid, but yeah, it was good times, good times. Um, my friend, he used to live up the street from me. His name was Lucas, and he was actually pretty close to my other friend Carrie. But Lucas, he always had like we always watched like a lot of action movies or even Star Wars movies at his house down in his basement. That was like the spot. We'd watch the movies like The Rock. We'd watch movies like Die Hard. We'd like watch movies such as like Star Wars, and it just seemed like, oh, and like Face Off, Nicolas Cage movies, Sean Connery movies, like that classic action movies at that time. So just, man, when you sit back and you kind of just look at your childhood and you realize how much you used to do and how fun it was, Yeah, I mean, it's not like the kids today. Because when I go to the park now, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with this, but usually when you go to the park, you play at the park, and kids still do that. But now, since everybody has like the Nintendo Switch and stuff, you can take those things are mobile, and we have a Nintendo Switch too, which I think is pretty cool. But I take my son to the park, and then it's crazy because you look and then you see my son Noah and other kids. They have their switches. They have their little Nintendo devices just sitting around in a circle playing a game. I'm like, you guys came outside to play video games. I guess you're getting fresh air at the same time playing video games. So I don't know, but they're not harming anybody, so it's not that big of a deal to be honest. But it's just very interesting and very different from when I was growing up. But yeah, my favorite movies, like I mentioned, are horror, paranormal, comedy, really dumb comedy, which my wife doesn't really like. She doesn't understand it, which I don't think a lot of moms do or wives do. A lot of men like a lot of dumb comedy. Oh well. And some good action movies. Today's action's pretty good, but it's just not like it was before, like with John Claude Van Damme and all that. But again, they still make some pretty good action movies. Like the most recent one that I remember seeing here at home was Black Adam, and I thought that was really good. I thought The Rock did a really good job in that one. Um, but yeah, and type of music that I enjoy. I really enjoy hip hop. I enjoy R&B. I even enjoy some a little bit of rock, not too much. I'm not a country fan. I have yet to find a country song that I really like. So that's pretty much my genre right there is hip hop, R&B, and a little bit of rock. Rock is mostly is when I'm in the gym. When it's like one of my heavy days that I'm lifting, I listen to something like that because it just really gets me going. Um, but yeah, those are pretty much what I like. My favorite artists, I would say, group in R&B is 112. Before them was Boys to Men, uh, and yeah, Boys to Men. Then it moved over to 112, and then mine. Let me think. What else? Huh? Yeah. Like now, there's a lot of songs that I like to listen to, but I don't really have like a favorite group out of them. So, but I still listen to them to this day. I also listen to some new stuff, but I've noticed a lot of the new stuff is not particularly good. And then you find out some of the old stuff you used to listen to is not what you thought because you get too caught up in the beat. But then you sit there and when you're older, you're a little bit smarter and you can pay attention more to the lyrics. And you're like, oh, so that's what they're singing about. You're like, man, that was my favorite song. And then you find yourself you're not really listening to it. Well, for me, I don't really listen to it anymore because it's not really giving off a positive type of message, or it makes you view the opposite sex, women, in a derogatory way. So it's not that great. But those are my genres. So I do listen to a lot of the clean ones. So talk about love or anything like that. Uh, Sports. Man, now sports. Sports, my sport is football. Football has always been my thing, and I remember when I was a kid, I was first introduced to football when I was, I want to say 4 to 5 years old. And the reason being is because I remember my mom always yelling at the TV, and that was at John Elway. John Elway for the Denver Broncos, and that's my team, by the way. Always going to be my team, even though we have not been playing well for the past like 5 or 6 years. It's just crazy. But again, that's always going to be my team. John Elway is my favorite quarterback of all time. He is one of those quarterbacks that I see that has like heart, that played the game for the love of the game, and he stuck with his team, no matter what. He's lost some Super Bowls, but yet they didn't release him, and he didn't try to move on. He stayed with the team, battled through thick and thin, and then ended up winning 2 championships back to back. But football is my sport. My love for football has come from my mom. Actually, my love for sports came from my mom. My mom was pretty active when we played when I was younger. She played a lot of softball and she would run a lot. But yeah, I would like to say that I give the credit for my love of sports to my mom. We still to this day talk about football, which is a lot of fun. Even though she's like thousands of miles away, we still text each other and saying like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And how the Broncos' performance has been going. So it's fun. It keeps my mom and I continue talking. That keeps the conversation and the relationship close. I'm not saying that we were ever distant, but you know what I mean. When you share something in common with your parents that you can kind of always stay in touch with, it's good and it's healthy. It's awesome. I love it, and I thank the Lord for that. And yeah, and I thank my mom for football. For football, you hear me, mom? I know you do. So I love you. Um, Now, when it comes to food, now food and sports, good mix. But we'll say like growing up, my favorite restaurants that I really like going to, for some reason, always in the back of my mind, is Chili's. Chili's, for some reason, to my opinion, I think has the best bacon cheeseburger. I know a lot of people may disagree. Others will be like, Chili's, really? Chili's? But for me, I don't know what it was, but it was in Colorado and I had Chili's, the cheeseburger, and it's been sticking with me since. I mean, I've had bacon cheeseburgers at a lot of other restaurants, but seems like nothing can compare to that. I'm sure you guys have something like that as well, where you feel like nothing can compare to where you enjoy your favorite food. But yeah, my favorite food is a cheeseburger. My favorite restaurant is not Chili's though. Uh, my favorite restaurant, to be quite honest, is, well, it's no longer there. It's in Colorado. It's called a place that was called Zio's. It was an Italian restaurant. The reason why it was my favorite is there. It reminds me of when I was dating my wife. When we were dating, that was like our spot that we always enjoyed going to. I mean, we've been a handful of times, but for some reason, whenever I think about Italian food, Zio's pops up and my wife pops up in my mind, and it was just something that I value, truly value, still to this day, and that's what made that place my favorite. I mean, my wife and I, we've eaten at plenty of other restaurants, but for some reason Zio is just stuck in my mind, in my heart, and just, I don't know. It was like the perfect. I don't want to say the perfect time, but it was just such an enjoyable time. Whenever my wife and I would, when I finish work, I go pick her up, and then we go to my place, get ready, and then go there for dinner. Yeah, and then come home and then either hang out, watch a movie. I don't know, just something about that place. But Zio's is my favorite restaurant. Uh, Traveling though, let's say, I mean, we all like to travel. I'll admit this though, I do have a fear of flying, but that will not stop me from wanting to see the rest of the world, because I believe there's so much that, I mean, so much that God created for us to enjoy and see. So if I'm just gonna stay in one place, I mean, why can't I go out and appreciate everything that God's created? I mean, there's so many mountains, trees, forests, fields, valleys, all this stuff that God created for us to enjoy. And I just think it's really cool. Um, yeah. So my first time actually flying by myself internationally is when I came to fly and visit my wife. That was, I I actually did pretty well, to be honest. I was nervous, but I did pretty well. I was able to fly on the plane and had a good time. I met some people. Met this guy that I sat next to, and he was about to go surprise his girlfriend. He had like a bottle of champagne, a big thing, a bear, flowers, all this stuff. So we had a good conversation. So it kept my mind off of actually flying. And yeah, that was my first time traveling on my own, and it was to a country that I've always dreamed of seeing, that I actually reside in now, Japan. But my ultimate dream place is Santorini, Greece. I've always wanted to go there. it just looks beautiful, like the villas next to the lake, but it's super expensive. But maybe one day, God may bless the opportunity for us. But for right now, we'll just continue working towards it and enjoy traveling. But my wife and I, we used to travel a lot together, even within the country. Um, but I haven't been to a lot of places: Japan, Korea, Guam, and then just a lot of places in the state, Canada. I think that's about it. And then we travel within the country of Japan as well. But there's still so much I want to see. But I'm all for traveling, and my excitement will definitely overcome my fear of flying. So I have no issue with that whatsoever. Um, ah, that's what I did. I was wondering why it was getting cold in here. It's because I turned off the heater. But yeah, like what are some of the places that you want to see? You can experience different cultures. Like living here in Japan, traveling to Japan, I'm experiencing the culture and noticing that it's very different than how it is in the United States, but it's not like a bad different. I mean, there's a little bit of things that you kind of scratch your head about, but it's not a big deal. Uh, but yeah, let's go also one more. Some of the goals that I have. I know we're kind of just jumping, but just this is kind of just getting to know who I am and some of the goals that I have that I want to continue working to. Now, before I had a goal that I wanted to be a personal trainer and open up my own gym. That is still there, an idea, but it's not as strong as it was before because I started turning fitness into something it should not be, and um, that is something that I am thankful that the Lord has weighed on my heart and helped me recognize. But I still do fitness. I still go to the gym every single day. I love the way that it makes me feel, and so my goal is just to continue being healthy, so I can be with my family, however long the Lord allows me. And yeah, but that was one of my other goals. I mean, one goal, and so another goal of mine is that definitely, hopefully, blowing this podcast up. Like I really want to be able to have this as something I can do on a regular basis. Sharing the gospel with you. The goal is for me to reach as many people as possible that is willing to listen. Granted, with the Lord's help. I can't do this podcast on my own. I can't. I pray and I let God try to take control. Not try, but let God take control of this podcast because it's ultimately he is using me as an instrument to grow this. Um, and I pray every day that he continues providing me with the accurate information that I can deliver to you effectively. Um, and if he doesn't want it to grow, who am I to say anything? My goal is to continue doing the will of the Lord and growing growing in him as well, growing that relationship with him as well. I mean, I've said this numerous times in my previous videos that it's just important that I grow close. Um, but yeah, that's a goal of mine, and this podcast, because I mean, I enjoy talking and sharing what's on my mind because I sit around a lot and I see things and I read things, and a lot's going on in my mind, and I can share a little bit with my wife, but she sometimes doesn't quite understand what I'm talking about, or doesn't really think about like the things that I ask her. I'm like, have you ever thought about this? So she quite doesn't understand. Um, so I figured, why not do something where I can just open my mind and share whatever is on my mind and on my heart, uh, and it makes me feel better. Because have you ever have I mean, this can be anything, but I'll just say for me, whenever I'm reading the scriptures and I find and God reveals to me, something new, because when you read the Bible, you start to discover more and more about the Lord. But you're so excited to say something to somebody, but then the people that don't know the Lord as well as you do, or doesn't know the Lord at all, it's to them it's like a foreign language. So you're kind of like, I'm so excited. I want to share this with somebody, but then they just don't quite get what you're saying. So I figured, why not do this podcast and someone out there, it may affect or touch them, or they may have the same thought. And then maybe one day we can connect and have a conversation and then continue growing this so people can know the Lord. I mean, why not? But yeah, it's it's really cool. So that's a goal. That's a goal of mine. Another goal that I'm definitely trying to work hard and understand how to grow this thing. Um, Also, another goal is obviously my relationship with the Lord to improve and to be a better husband, better father, better son each and every day. That is something that I strive and I work towards. Again, I can't do this on my own. It's only through the will of the Lord and His guidance, His wisdom that can help me in this part of my life. As I grow older, I'm starting to notice things more, which I'm thankful for. So I want to be better. Um, but yeah, that's a big goal of mine. I mean, I have a ton of goals that I want, but my number one is about the Lord and me being able to actively act. How do I say it? Accurately deliver His message and to other people willing to seek the truth. Um, and yeah, so this is just going to be a two-part thing. I'm only going to keep it this short, but I still have some other things that I would like to let you know what I like and I dislike. So we're going to do two videos. This one's just going to be more so like I listed off some of the things that I enjoy and my goal, and then maybe the next one is going to be something I dislike, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more of things that I enjoy in there too. But I do appreciate you listening to me. You know, this is G.F.E, God, Family, and Everything Else. So if any of you guys have anything you want to say, please hit a comment below because I really, really want to grow this channel. It's something that I really am trying to work towards, and I know it's going to take time if I just stay consistent with it. But again, the goal is to change someone's heart, and not for me to change him, for the Lord to do it. Praying that God speaks through me, uses me as an instrument to do His will. It's not mine, it's His. So, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. My name is Kevin. I'm out.